Hello, this is Alex from BC in Canada. The following episode may contain some bad language. You have been warned.
Hello and welcome to the Favourite Football Podcast. I'm James Killick and with me today are Daniel Fitzpatrick.
Hello everyone.
Ellis Ballard.
Hello.
Benjamin Howard.
Easy lover.
And James Brett.
Hello.
We've got a full house for the first time in a while, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've already had the pre-show arguments and everything, so yeah, it's going to be a good one. So a massive thank you to Alex who sent us that voice note there. This is the same Alex who also left us a very nice review and supports us on Patreon. So Alex from Canada, big up. Thank you very much.
What a guy. What a guy.
What a great guy.
Yeah, nice guy.
Thanks.
Nice country.
Chelsea fan, apparently.
Chelsea
Okay,
fans.
get rid of him.
Yeah.
Over.
Don't you ever send us anything again. Please keep giving us your money. Okay, let's move on then to the review from Inglaterra. It's a 5-star review, and it says, fantastic pod. It's clear they're a bunch of mates having a laugh. Worth a 5-star, and love the fact it's now on YouTube. So yeah, we are now on YouTube.
Represent.
I object to the bit where he says that we're all mates.
I was thinking the same.
Oh, yeah.
But fine.
That's a facade.
We was mates before this podcast, and then
Yeah, that's true.
So much stress.
fame changes some people. Yeah.
We streamed in Kuwait and everything just went crazy. Right, let's get straight into the action then, shall we? So the biggest game of the weekend, Manchester City won, Liverpool won. Ellis, obviously being the resident Liverpool fan, how do you feel about this game?
Yeah, I think considering that City were the better team for, the whole of the second half and probably even the latter part of the first half, plus it was at their place, plus De Bruyne missed a penalty, I'll definitely take a point, I think, all things considered. I think they needed the win a bit more than we did because we've already got a bit of a lead on them. But the first half of the first half, I'd say, was just mad. Like two really, really good teams, high tempo, both just, looking forward and trying to attack the whole time. Just good players all over the place. It was one of the most I've enjoyed a match in the Premier League so far this season. I thought the quality was just tops.
I don't know.
I was kind of thinking,
what were you watching?
You don't think the quality was good at the first half?
You were both
start of the match.
Crap.
I think because obviously we're so used to both of those teams being so elite, and we've seen some good matchups over the last couple of years. I felt a little bit let down, really. Yep. I think when you look at both sides so far this season, they haven't been at their 100% best, and I think this game just encapsulated that, really. It was just a bit lackluster, I thought, really.
I will disagree because I thought it was a very good first half, and this is coming from West Ham United fans who've been watching dull football all year, so now they've actually seen some good football. They'll be like, oh, bloody hell, what's going on here?
I mean, you have one win today, you think you're top of the world.
Yeah, look at him piping up all of a sudden. Like,
bloody hell, go back to your place, Palace fan.
I have to agree. The first half I thought was very busy, and the quality was obviously there. It was a sort of a frantic first half. The second half, obviously, it slowed down, but it was full power. And I think they're both just so good. It's sort of in that second half, they just sort of cancelled each other out. I think more than the quality of the game. I think they both just played really well, and this is what happened.
I think it's an energy levels thing as well, surely. I think when you start that hectic, you can't keep that up all match long.
No.
But yeah, I mean, if I'm being totally honest, I think we was probably lucky to get a point, especially considering they got a pen.
Sorry, but
God, that penny.
How De Bruyne, the player he is, how can he miss a penalty?
Not if he hit the target, man.
Yeah, that is embarrassing. And you think Man City
He is a
play well?
secret Liverpool fan, though. He is a secret Liverpool fan. When he was
just
growing
like
up,
you.
he was a Liverpool fan.
I've seen that video of him as a kid, and he says his favourite team is Liverpool.
He just couldn't find, he couldn't find it in himself to go against his old team, do you know?
Yeah.
He took it. He was like, oh no, I missed. The rain. Oh, crazy. Oh, no.
Well, that penalty was the first one that's been off target since 2018. And do you know who the last
Mahrez.
person was?
Yeah,
It
I
was
saw that as well.
Mahrez. So in the same fixture, Mahrez
Against
obviously
Liverpool.
hit the crossbar, didn't he? My memory serves me well.
So I
Was it off the
remember that,
crossbar?
yeah.
Yeah, and that was the last time it happened. So the curse of the penalty, eh? But yeah, De Bruyne, you'd expect him to hit the target, wouldn't you? That was just I guess it can happen to the best players. Messi and Ronaldo have missed penalties, eh? So
Yeah, it happens.
certainly does. So probably, as you say, a better result than for Liverpool, probably, isn't it? Away from home, I don't know how much weight that really carries, and obviously still higher up the table. And Man City, obviously at the moment, still in 10th. So they do have a game in hand. I mean, they could, go up the table, but I think it's probably a better result for Liverpool. Let's all agree with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these gaps can open up real fast. The table's still such a mess, and before you know it, it's going to be December, and there's still no real shape to it. Which I don't know, just says how crazy the start of the season's been, I guess.
I think this is actually much more exciting this year because last year it was just basically only exciting for the relegation battle. Everything else was like settled like months in advance, wasn't it?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, who's going to win it? Southampton was on top. Then it was Tottenham.
I
Then
can see
Leicester.
Spurs.
Yeah.
yeah, Leicester. So like, it's gone crazy.
3 different leaders this weekend. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Does anyone else feel like as well that it doesn't really feel? I think because it came back so quickly and it's been so weird, it doesn't feel like a normal season at all, does it? It kind of feels like it's like a big fun tournament. Like it doesn't feel like this usual thing. It's great. It might be the amount of games.
I think we have been spoiled this year at the moment because we're seeing a game every 3 days with our team at the moment. So it's been like we've been a bit spoiled and blessed to have so much football from our teams.
Not even just from our team, it's just the fact that Premiership wise, you're getting 2 games on the Friday, you've got Saturday, Sunday, then you're getting 2 games on the Monday as well. So, and then if you've got Champions League and Europa League as well, then it's just like an endless carnival of football. It's great, isn't it?
It is awesome.
Yeah, it's
There's
crazy.
something Pep and Klopp were both kicking off because isn't it basically every other major league are doing the sub rule? For some reason, we're just not. And now, like, everyone's getting injured all the time. I think Trent's just done his calf in.
Another injury. Another one. Bats to dust.
It's an awkward one down though, because I get what they're saying, but I think it is more fair the way it is because the lower teams in the league, they haven't got the same sort of squad depth for these other teams, so they're going to be at a disadvantage. And I quite like how it is at the moment. Like you guys have been saying, it's been exciting. You're getting all these results. You've got teams near the top that you would never expect it to be up there. So, for me, I'm enjoying it. I know obviously I'm a United fan, so it means it's at the detriment to my own team's success. But fuck it, wasn't going to win the league anyway. So,
But I think that argument about the teams lower down the league don't have the same squad depth is definitely true. But also, if it doesn't change the fact that their starting 11 or strongest squad are going to get injuries as well, like the same as the top teams, the lower teams, because the 5 subs would help with people burning out and not recovering properly and getting played. So then those, youth players or whatever that they're going to have to play are going to end up playing anyway. Does that make sense?
yeah, I know what you mean. I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer to it, really.
Yeah.
It's just they probably feel that way because they're so used to being at the top of the table easy, and then all of a sudden they've had a few injuries, and obviously Liverpool normally last few seasons have been so exceptionally lucky when it comes to fitness and injuries, and now you're starting to get a taste of it. Klopp's throwing his toys out the pram a little bit.
I think
about
it was Pep that was going on about it more, to be fair, but
he can definitely shut up.
they don't even have that many injuries, do they? Maybe they do.
Aguero always picks up little. Yeah. I thought the 5 we spoke about this, didn't we, pre-season about the potential rules, and I think we all generally had a feeling that 5 subs would be a bad idea, but with the schedule as it is now, I'm kind of thinking maybe we should have gone the other model, because obviously, of course, now we've got the Champions League every week as well, haven't we? So basically, Manchester City, Liverpool, top teams and all European competitions really have been playing every weekend and every week without that week break in the middle. So it is 2 games a week minimum. And I mean, obviously we've got the internationals coming up and God knows what's going to happen to players on that.
That's what's done it, I think. I didn't know they were going to still do all these internationals. I swear every couple of weeks we've got another international break. It's like, do we need this? No. And not another one. Like, everyone gets bored of it anyway. All the players are dying. Why?
Yeah, even though we'll talk about the match properly, obviously, but Solskjaer was right off. Did you see his interview?
Yeah, he was getting fumed about the same sort of thing about pretty much how the FA have done him over, and I was like, you know, it's hard to sort of disagree with him, isn't it? Really, and all these managers, they all have a point, and like I said, these international breaks are not helping at all.
Yeah, it's just a tournament no one gives a shit about. Like, why are we doing it?
Money.
Everybody thinks their competition obviously is important, though. That's the issue, isn't it? The people who host it and you know, obviously it's on TV and the sponsors and everything. I guess everyone feels like they are super important, but yeah, they probably aren't. So
But
face it.
especially with these like travel restrictions due to like coronavirus and stuff, you'd think they wouldn't be doing that. Like,
Try and limit that.
yeah, exactly. How about now? You know, well, I heard saying on like Talk Sport yesterday or today something about Denmark. There's going to be a problem with our future games because they're in our group, and it's something to do in Denmark. We've got mink farms, and it's like you get a more the animals are spreading a new strain of the virus, so it's gonna affect the tournament. So I don't understand how they're going to carry it on.
2020, what a year to be alive.
Goddamn little minks.
Damn those little minks.
We lost to Denmark, didn't we? We lost. Was it 2-0? We lost to Denmark.
Oh yeah.
So can we revoke that result now, or?
Well, yeah, I think they found out that there was minks in the changing room, so it's all starting to make sense now.
It was their mascot.
Along with Danish bacon, it's all making sense.
Yeah, well, we should get back on topic, I think. So, yeah, I mean, I guess, well, we're split. I would say it's a good game. Maybe you guys not so much, but we saw the best teams obviously play, and they'll probably be the front runners come the end of the season, despite how their table looks right now.
Should we talk about
Liverpool City?
Should we talk about the Joe Gomez handball? Because I think we all sort of saw it a bit differently. Dan, you were like, that's a stonewall penalty.
100%. If I saw that before VAR and everything, just a normal day, that was a handball for me, 100%.
It's weird, isn't it? Because Neville and Carragher in the comms were like, that's never a pen, but it'll get given, but it's so stupid. But I actually half agree with you, Dan. The first replay I saw, I was like, yeah, that'll get given. His arm is raised.
His arm is out.
Yeah, it's well out. Yeah.
But
I don't know why it took so long and the referee had to go. Like, quick decision for me.
Odd, isn't it?
Done.
Ben, what do you think of that penalty?
With the handball rule, I mean, anything's a handball now. Even if it's not done on purpose, you're going to get it given to you. But in today's day and age, it's a bit like anything that touches your hand is a bit like you're going to get given a pen for, even if it's not intentional or intentional. So, I mean, it's just change it back where if it is intentional, and that's the best way to resolve it.
I felt like you didn't answer that question at all.
Did you not see it? Have you not seen it? That sounded like
I have seen it. I have seen it, but his arm is coming. I do get what you mean with his arm is coming away from his body, but I don't think it's a penalty. But obviously VAR says it's a penalty.
I really didn't even mind it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, that'll get given. Fair enough, whatever.
I think
I didn't see the beef really. I was just like, yeah, penalty.
It's definitely a penalty now, but I think what Ben's trying to say is the idea that the fact that Joe Gomez is obviously running to close down that intercept the cross, and it hits his hand, but he is sprinting at this point, obviously full speed, and his arms are going to move with momentum, because how do you sprint with your hands behind your back unless you're,
Yeah, but you also don't need your arms well up in the air like that. I don't
think his arms are in the air.
I do like the YMCA.
If you sprint now though, how high do your arms go?
Just goes to my nipples.
It wasn't in his.
And I got really low nipples. So.
It wasn't in. His arms weren't in the air. I do find it difficult. I think it's ridiculous, but here we are, 2020.
Yeah,
2020.
We're just blaming everything on 2020 now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Every bad decision in life, in general, or football, 2020.
Even ones I make, 2020. Wasn't me. It was 2020. Okay, fine. So we don't agree on that either. Shall we move? Shall we move on to the next game then?
Yeah, please.
If we must. Which is
no, I don't want to.
No, I don't want to. Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 3. Now, Ben, what did you think of this one?
The problem I see with Arsenal is we know Arsenal very, they're quite good defensively. They're very hard team to play against. We saw against them against United, but there doesn't seem to be any creative spark with Arsenal, I feel. And if you're not creating chances, finishing chances, then the way Villa have performed, where they did beat Liverpool 7-2, they will punish you. And Ollie Watkins is the man for the big teams, getting a hat-trick against Liverpool and now 2 against Arsenal.
He's no joke, is he? He's fitted him very well there. Fitted him very well indeed. I think it was kind of one of them. I wasn't really disappointed with how we played. I think I was more surprised, actually, how good Aston Villa were. And at the moment, they're sitting 6th in the table. They've got a game in hand. If they win that, they'll be top of the league with Leicester. Obviously, also on 8 games. The way they move the ball, and Barkley, where's this performance come from? I mean, he's been... See, we've seen flashes before, a bit inconsistent, but Brett, have you been impressed with him since he's been at Villa?
Yeah, like you said, he seamlessly just slot into the team. And I think the sort of partnership that he's already got with Jack Grealish, who obviously had a great season last year, them two have just got, a different sort of synergy at the moment where they just seem to know where each other is all the time, the nice little interchanges with one another. Like you said, it's working perfectly. And like you said with Ollie Watkins, who's been brought in, last year they were lacking goals and Wesley wasn't really doing it. He's been perfect for them. It just all seems to be clicking at the moment. And I think we said before the start of the season anyway, when we saw this is an important year. They spent a lot on these signings. They could potentially, be moving up the table. I didn't think this high up the table, but, they're doing the bit at the moment. And, it's not quite a flash in the pan because, like you said, we're coming up to Christmas soon. And, I can imagine they're going to be thereabouts, sniffing around the top sort of 6 or so. So, yeah, great start. And in particular, Jack Grealish and Ross Barkley are doing bits.
I think the spine of that Villa team as well has improved massively from the last season leading into this season because of the business they've done in the summer. They got Martinez in goal, who you would say is an upgrade from last year. Watkins is an upgrade. You've got Barkley, who's an upgrade. You've got McGinn, who's back to full fitness now, which is a bonus to them. Douglas Luiz, who was involved in that second goal, where he's played it over the top, and then Barkley's crossed it for Watkins as well. So they've got a strong core in that Villa team now, which is helping them.
Yeah. Well, they're good against the big teams as well. Obviously, tore apart Liverpool. Now they've done it to Arsenal. There's, tactically, they must be doing something right against these big teams. There must be, they're sort of defensively sound anyway and sit back, but it's that counter attack. And it's like you said, it's impressive. They're kicking it with the big boys and they're doing all right.
Yeah, I think they move the ball around so well. I think the way that they pass the ball around, they're not. I mean, it would still be impressive from last year if they just sat back, 10 men behind the ball, countered and, got these results. But they're not. They've got more to their play. And like you say, obviously Martinez coming in, who finished at Arsenal, obviously in fantastic form, he's made a hell of a difference. And if you look as well, not only are they scoring more goals and obviously high up the league, they've also conceded not very many at all. In fact, their goals against, I mean, there's a few teams on 9, but they are basically within that sort of least amount of teams on 9. And look at that compared to last season.
That shocks me, though, to be honest, just because I thought this year their defence was was going to let them down, really. But like you said, it's been a surprise. I think Martinez has obviously been a huge part in that, like you said. I still don't really get how they managed to get him for the price they did and why Arsenal let him go, to be honest. But I suppose he probably wanted first team football. They weren't willing to give it to him. And this is the perfect place for him to flourish because like I said, he's been amazing so far. But yeah, defensively, they've been a lot better than they thought they would be. And like you said, they deserve to be where they are right now.
I think it's that consistency as well. Last season, they kept changing their defence a lot and their keeper because you had Heaton who was starting and then they kept chopping and changing keeper. Reina was brought in January as well. So they didn't really have that back 5 who were playing together a lot. But they've found that this season where they're playing a lot together, that back 5 now, and they're used to each other.
Yeah, so they seem to have conceded the least amount of goals. Just to tell you quickly, Leicester have only conceded 9, as well as Tottenham, Aston Villa, Wolves and Manchester City. So they've all conceded 9 and all have conceded the least in the league. So a couple of surprising teams there, Manchester City.
Yeah, I'll think that. I was like, all right.
Well, I guess it depends how you look at the stats. Can always swing them one way or the other. But obviously fantastic for Villa, and let's see if they can keep it up. If they can, and obviously if they don't get injuries to any of their main players, I think they'll definitely be maybe around that 10th place or up there somewhere. We'll have to see if they can keep up, the performances. But so I guess if we look at Arsenal, Ellis, what do you think about the lack of creativity in that team? Bring Ozil back? No,
Is he on that note? Is he? He's not. He's like not even been selected. He won't.
He's
make
not
the
even
games,
registered.
Yeah.
No.
That's crazy, isn't it? One of the biggest earners in the whole league. Arsenal's biggest earner, and he's not even going to get a minute. Mental. But I don't think it's not like disaster time for Arsenal or whatever. Villa just seem to be able to do a job against people at the moment. I quite like Arsenal at the moment. I think Partey looks wicked. I'd question Lacazette. He just seems to not take the chances, and he never really has consistently for Arsenal. I'm sure you'd benefit from having Aubameyang in the middle and play someone else off the left where he's been playing, because he seems to be clinical and Lacazette just isn't. Or even Nketiah looks like a really good little goal scorer. I think there's plenty of creativity. I think Saka is excellent. Maybe, I don't know, Willian hasn't, but we all knew Willian. We all knew that signing, he wasn't going to be a complete game changer. He was just going to be sort of a solid addition, and I suppose he's done that job. I think it was just an off day, but I think overall what Arteta's doing and how you line up and the personnel you have in and everything, I think it's all really positive at the moment. Just a weird one, wasn't it?
Interesting you say that, really, just because obviously that's the sort of narrative, you're sort of saying, and quite a lot of people are sort of following at the moment. But they're 11th place, and everyone's been slagging off Ollie and Manchester United sort of thing, and they're only 2 points difference at the moment. So, sometimes I find it hard to understand why, Arteta and Arsenal sort of getting away with it a little bit, I feel.
I think, I guess the positives are, and obviously I'm speaking from an Arsenal perspective, as much I'll guess try and stay neutral, is that we're not conceding dumb goals anymore. Obviously we conceded 3 today, but before this game we'd only conceded like 7 goals, I think, in all our games so far. And we are definitely better at the back. I think the issues probably are at the front. There's a lot of calls, actually, Ellis, you mentioned there, for Aubameyang to go back into the middle, have your best goal scorer in the middle where he's going to get the most chances, rather than him having to create his chances, cutting in on that left-hand side, which he can do. But if he's in that middle and he gets one chance, it's a goal. And he's not really getting them chances at the moment. And people said, he signed the contract, is he off the boil? I don't think it is that. I think, like you say, put him in the middle, someone else on the left. I think Martinelli's back soon, and obviously he looks exciting. He could definitely play there, or, as you say, move Saka there, or something like that, I think would be beneficial, but we'll have to see.
I think if Arsenal targeted someone in the mould of like Bruno Fernandes, that would help them in the middle. But it depends if Arteta really wants to do that, sacrifice maybe being a bit more defensive in the middle 3 and maybe go for that to get some creativity and put Aubameyang up front.
I think maybe he's just trying to change.
A missing link there.
Yeah, I think he's trying to change the culture, and I think maybe he's going a bit extreme at the moment. I don't think this is how he wants it really to be, but we've been so much the other way for 10 plus years probably, under however many managers, 2-3 managers. Obviously the end of Wenger's reign, and we didn't get the right people, and then we had Emery, who was a nutter. So I think he's just trying to stop us conceding stupid goals, and generally I think we have. So it's a positive, and I can take it as fine. If we're not conceding embarrassing goals, I'll take Pulis football all day long. All day long. Okay, then let's move on from that game. Ben, we're going to speak to you about this one, because Crystal Palace scored 4 goals against the exciting Leeds, and obviously that was 4-1. So Ben, how are you feeling after that result?
I think I nearly shit my pants at the result. Because not often do we score 4 goals in a game, let alone a season. So, I mean, a lot of people expect Leeds to turn us over, and I expect Leeds to give us a right old game. I think they can feel maybe a little bit hard done by with the offside call, which I would bloody be aggrieved at if I saw that go against us as well.
Yeah, we'll discuss that.
I thought we took our chances well. I mean, Meslier for the 3rd goal, he didn't cover himself in justice, but man like Easy Lover doing the bits. It's amazing what happens when you actually put creative players in your team and you score. Who the fuck would have thought that?
How many times have we said that? It's so frustrating with Hodgson, isn't it? We go, just put your attacking players on, see what happens. And every single time he does, you get a good result. Like, same thing when he was against United as well. Just play those players, man. Like, because when he first put them out, you're attacking people you had out there, and I was like, they can get a result here. Because obviously defensively, you're always quite resolute and, good at the back anyway. once you've got those fast counter-attacking players, you can do a lot of damage, and you've seen that this season.
Exactly. He doesn't need to nullify the attacking players and make them so defensive and change their game. You're meant to enhance them and your team and play around them and make us actually score and want to score and play well. Like, I think the first 2 games where he beat Southampton United, we were doing that. And for some reason, we stopped doing it for a few games. And then we've done it again against Leeds. So it seems to be a bit like play the creative players whenever you want to, but still avoid the defeat thing. But I wish he would have the balls to do that more, to play the creative players more. Because you saw against Leeds, when we did do that, we actually attacked them and scored actually 4 goals.
I think what was a big help with that game, though, is that Meslier had an absolute shocker. Like,
Which is weird, because
he was
he's
in our
so
team
good.
a week a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, no chance he's saving the first or second, though. I don't think he's saving the first or
I mean,
second.
one of the, I think the first goal, maybe the second, he was in the goal trying to save it. And that was just dumb. And then the own goal, he just watched it for like 10 minutes. Like,
That was weird, that goal.
And then he reacted. It's I think he just said, you played well, and you just took advantage of a bad goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, he should have done better with the third and fourth. Ayu's shot was near enough at him, and he couldn't really grasp it away. But yeah, he weren't saving Eze's free kick either, though.
Oh, that free kick! I've never seen a free kick that was literally skimmed the wall, but it hit with such power to go in. I was like, wow, he had a great game as well. That's the best game he's had in the Palace shirt so far.
Yeah.
Also the offside for Bamford, was that his arm was offside?
Yeah, some explain that to me, because I thought it's only goal scoring parts of your body.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
What I heard is that they do it by your your shirt sleeve, because obviously that stops like just below your armpit or whatever. So he stuck out his arm to show the guy, I think it was Click, where to pass it. And because that meant that bit of your shirt sleeve was then offside, because that's where they draw the line to when you watch them draw their stupid lines.
So what if they wear a long sleeve shirt?
Then, honestly, do not even know what would happen.
And that is so harsh, though. It's so
harsh.
Give the benefit of the attacker. You want to see goals in that, but give him the benefit of doubt. Like, you point to your attacking midfielder where you want the ball. Like, it's common, but that's going to make players stop doing that. And you want to see goals, and it's just going to stop it.
I did feel like, as you said, James Brett, I don't know what if did your full name, but anyway, I thought you were only offside for things you could score with, and like they should take that into account. As you said, Alex, you do with the shirt sleeve. But even so, that's still your arm. Like, is it the armpit then?
I was gonna make the same point that we have obviously had these issues before where it was someone's head and we were saying, but he didn't score with his head, he kicked it. Here, obviously, it's his arm. He can't score with his arm. It's giving him no advantage, is it? It just seems absolutely ridiculous. And we got a few comments, obviously, from people here. Robbie Savage said, "This is the worst I've ever seen." Gary Lineker said, "I actually loathe the way VAR is being implemented." And I guess to finish off with Jermaine Genus, it was an absolutely disgusting decision not to give Bamford the goal. So it's fair to say that we're all agreeing on that one. I mean,
I think it was the worst one yet of all the madness we've seen disallowed.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you see that replay, within a split second, you're like, yeah, that's fine. That's clearly onside. Like, so clearly onside. And then they watch it 10 times and rule it out. And it's just, oh man, can't even get your head around it. There you are.
When them lines come out, there's trouble.
Yeah.
There's trouble. As soon as you see them lines, man, that's it. And obviously all the footballers are basically saying the same thing, aren't they? That maybe they're not even aware. I think it was Bamford, wasn't he? Said afterwards that he didn't understand why it wasn't a goal. So I don't think it's good for anyone really. But 2020,
I think he would have changed the game though. Do you know what I mean? It's a poor decision, but he still scored his goal afterwards. And it was 2-1 at that point. And I suppose you're sort of expecting Leeds to do what they've done so many times this season and sort of come back, but they didn't really. And I felt actually what let them down was defensively, they've looked a bit shaky.
Yeah.
I'm saying Leeds have conceded 17 goals in their first 8 Premier League games this season. The last time they conceded more at this stage was in 1946. So,
Just that, isn't it?
They're a bit leaky at the back as much as they're, intense going forward and that. And we've seen some good performances from like Meslier in previous games. The stats don't lie. They're obviously leaking a little bit at the back.
It's because they commit so many men forward, didn't they?
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. You know,
Yeah.
so it reminds me of like Liverpool. You know, when they first had Klopp take over, like they were so good going forward, but so bad at the back.
Mm.
Ferrari in the front and a Fiat Punto in the back, sort of thing.
Fiat Puntos are fine if anyone has one.
Yes, we do not discriminate.
Yeah.
Do you think the issue with Leeds, and I mean this, I do mean this nicely, that I mean if you actually look at their squad, I mean it's not great. I mean they've done amazing things. They've got an amazing manager, but let's be honest, player for player, it's not the best team in the world, is it? And I'm sorry, Leeds fans, but do you think maybe in January they should bolster that defence and maybe get some more names? Because I guess what I'm saying is the manager and the system get so much out of them, but individually you probably wouldn't pick a lot of them players going to another team, would you? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
You haven't got the
definitely, I
standout
agree.
players, have you?
It works in this system. I know what you mean. but
Yeah,
then
so
you put them anywhere else.
do you think you
then-
need some names in there?
One of their big signings was who's that bloke who used to play for City? Their striker
Harrison?
Rodrigo,
No, Rodrigo.
right? That was their like headline signing, wasn't it? And we've all heard of him.
Mhm.
Maybe it's because Bamford's doing so well, so he's not even on the pitch. But that seems to be where they splash their cash. And
They got that cock as well.
Yeah, they've got that cock at the back.
Yeah, that cock.
I didn't know about him before he moved there. Did you?
Yeah, great
I
German
did,
defender,
mate.
in
I did.
the Bundesliga, yeah.
Football manager prospect, you know what I mean?
I've noticed the theme with this podcast. Whenever there's not a language warning, everyone's on their best behaviour. Whenever we put one on, it's just free reign.
Hey,
Absolute free
we're
reign.
just saying his name, mate.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
We're really mature for 27-year-olds, aren't we?
Yeah, so I guess.
But at least this time, Diego Llorente as well, though.
Yeah, but they
I was thinking like,
They signed him for Real Sociedad at the back as well, so he's been out injured. But I imagine he would make a difference as well when he comes back. He's a centre back.
Yeah, they've got that young goalkeeper who, okay, maybe it wasn't his best game, but he has been fantastic. Obviously, they've got Ailing on the right, isn't it? And
Yeah,
Leeds
he's great.
fans weren't 100% sure about him in the Championship. Obviously, he has been putting in good performances in the Premier League, but maybe that just shows they just need something a bit extra. But I don't think they'll go down, and I think I put them in predictions maybe like 15th, 16th, and I think that would be a good season, would it not, for Leeds, really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Just staying up's an achievement. And
Yeah,
just-
yeah. When you're
I
the
mean-
promoted side, all you got to do is don't get relegated, and you've done fine.
kick on the season after, like Aston Villa are doing. You know, that's the sort of blueprint people should be using at the moment. They're doing amazing.
Like I said on an earlier podcast, I said Aston Villa looking to do good things. Bring in the people. They're going to go far. They want Europe. They want the Premier League. Go Villa.
Didn't you actually say as well that they'll be challenging for Europe, which
I
is
did.
quite weird because at the moment they're kind of around that area.
I think I put them in my bottom three. It's pretty hilarious.
I wanted them relegated, so I put them there as well.
Well, there we go. Burning more bridges with more listeners. That's good. So if anyone's still listening, let's quickly run through the other games because we'll pick up on the key points. We had a draw, which was Brighton Burnley 0-0. I don't know if you guys got to watch this one, but it was as it sounds. It was an interesting draw. It wasn't interesting. Who saw it?
Nah. I saw highlights, but there weren't any highlights, so.
He literally started and said, "Here's the highlights," and then said, "Thanks for watching." 2 seconds after.
Yeah, I just gave you the highlights in closing form. That was it. I'd say one bright spark actually was Danny Welbeck for Brighton, and he actually made some really good runs. The only thing that let him down a little bit was some of the finishing, and I guess really that's kind of the story of his career. A lot of energy, good positioning, had a couple of half chances which he didn't quite take.
And then he gets injured and is out for 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably on the agenda, but I just wanted to pick up Brighton because it's interesting because since Potter's taken over, he's got a lot of plaudits for the change in play, obviously from Chris Hughton, more defensive, Graham Potter, obviously more expressive. They fell away a little bit last season, didn't they? And this season obviously made a couple of good signings, but they played 8 games, which is one more than the rest of the pack down there, but they're in 16th, only 6 points. Concerned?
Mm,
I
don't
think
know what-
Brighton will be all right. It's Burnley
Yeah.
I'm more worried about.
I'm not sure for a
Points.
team like Brighton. I don't know what they're targeting really, because again, I think if they don't get relegated, they've done all right.
Yeah,
Like, they
pretty much.
don't have the big names. They don't spend a lot of money. You know, just stay in that league and you're doing well. And then eventually you'll get relegated. It's a sad life, really. I wouldn't want to be a Brighton fan.
Say they seem alright at the moment, Brighton. Though I think they'll, like I said, I think they'll be okay. The poor old Dyche and Burnley, like they love 0-0s at the moment. They just love looking. They look like a really depressive team at the moment, don't they?
Well, Ben Mee's back.
2
Apparently,
points.
Ben Mee was pretty essential to keeping the clean sheet from from a Burnley perspective. He's important. But yeah, it's them as an attacking force. Like, who on earth are you scared of in that team in terms of going forward? Like, no one.
No, you're not really scared of them, are you? To be honest, they normally just rely on being so defensively resolute, but even that seems to come out the window a little bit. So, and they just haven't invested. We said it all summer, and we've all felt bad for Dyche because we all love Dyche, and I think the writing's on the wall at the moment, unless they pull something out of their arse. But
I'm surprised he didn't walk Dyche, because why would you want to manage it if your board aren't backing you with that?
I think he will. If they get relegated, I think another team will have a go with him. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think maybe the issue is that despite obviously us and actually I think a lot of football fans saying he should get a chance, he doesn't actually seem to get any other chances, does he? Because let's be honest, if a manager's been approached, it will come out from somewhere, agents or the clubs or something. And no one's really wanting to take a chance on him, it seems. So maybe he feels if he drops out, where would he go? Would another Premier League?
I say Hodgson's about 108 years old, so
yeah,
he must be retiring soon. You like to think?
I don't know. Man.
Yeah, he'll wind up at Palace.
Hodgson will still be managing in his retirement home. Trust me.
Yeah, I think it'd be good for Palace if Palace wanted him. Yeah, I think it could work. Okay then. Should we move on then to the next game, which was Southampton 2, Newcastle 0? I thought Southampton in this game were absolutely fantastic there. I mean, the only thing probably they lacked is more goals, which they could have scored in the game, but they were so dominant. It was a perfect performance from Southampton, which saw them obviously briefly go top of the table. I mean, they look so exciting, don't they, Ellis?
They do. There were a lot of I remember saying weeks ago, there were a lot of pundits and that were saying they're like the dark horse this year. Because it's all sort of coming together, that the manager's got him playing how he wants now, and a couple of nice little signings. And I mean, when you've got Danny Ings in your team, you're going to be all right. Obviously, he's injured now, and they still did all right, which was important. They're just, when you look at their starting 11, there's no one in there that you're worried about. Like, they're just quite solid options. I like them. For me, I'm not looking forward, as a Liverpool fan, I'm not looking to playing against them. I think it'll be a really, really difficult match. So they're doing all right.
Yeah, and
who look forward to signing?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same question. Who are you looking forward to seeing from that team in the summer? and Ben Shea Adams obviously is a player I know we spoke about a lot before. Really, this podcast, before his transfer and before we started this podcast. Are you impressed, Ben, with his performances now for Southampton? Because he's stepping up, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he struggled in his first season a little bit, but then we saw glimpses of him at the end of last season, and then him scoring against City, which was a bit of a worldie as well last year. He did do well at Birmingham in his last season. He got 22 goals. So it looks like there is life after Ings as well. Even if Ings isn't there, he's been putting his name in there, and he's got 3 goals this year in 8 appearances in the Premier League. So that's not a bad return at all. So he does seem like he's coming into his own. Sometimes it takes players who are coming from the Championship a season to get into their groove. But yeah, Southampton doing well with him.
Yeah, I think they'll be okay. Let's move on to the next game then. Everton 1, Manchester United 3. Everton really falling away at the moment, and maybe Richarlison not being there. I mean, that's made a big difference, isn't it? Because they had a couple of key players back, didn't they? So we had James Rodriguez back, and we thought, maybe they'll be all right, but they're not looking like they did, and I wonder if they're missing that energy with them up front. What do you think?
I just think it was Manchester United masterclass, personally, mate. Do you know what I mean? No, do you know what? Like you said, they had a few of their players back. Everton, obviously, Rodriguez back, Dignio's back. I think Coleman as well. So it was near enough, apart from Richarlison, fully strength sides. I think they had Pickford back in goal as well. They played the right. I just think, to be honest, it's weird with Ollie. Like, as soon as he gets backed into a corner, he always seems to pull a result out, doesn't he? So I think this is just one of those. I think it was just a professional performance from United. Defensively, they were sound, which you don't say a lot at all this season. Bruno Fernandes, we all know what he's capable of. He's been fantastic since he signed for United, and 2 great goals. And it was even nice at the end to see Cavani score his first for the club as
Yes.
well. So really, like obviously from my perspective, it was a great weekend. You know, it was just everything you wanted from a match, and we got it.
Quick question I will ask is: do we all believe that Everton had a good start to the season? Do we think they've done well so far?
Everton,
I think
yeah.
so. Yeah.
Well,
Even though they've
However-
had a few dodgy weeks, but
However, you say that they are 7th with 13 points, but if United win, then they're going the same points as them. But then we've all slandered United so far. So how comes we're giving Everton a bit more credit? Shouldn't we be kind of comparing them to United if they're on the same points?
well, this is what I said about even Arsenal, and the likes of City, because United have still got a game in hand on Arsenal, and if we win that, we go above them.
And-
But that's just not the narrative around Manchester United at the moment, and Ollie.
Even
This is,
Palace,
you
we're
know,
on the same points as Everton as well, and people don't think we've been great this year. So
who said that? I think Palace have been great this season.
Ben's
I mean-
being negative around his own team, but I think every team just has different expectation.
Right, yeah, you can't compare what people expect of Everton versus Manchester United. Can't do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Ben,
Everton's
why are you
doing
doing that?
Very
Yeah, Ben.
well for what they have been done, and like Man U they're a club that should be up the top like for a majority of the year.
and of
So-
course Everton, it did start well, and people were obviously riding the wave because they were top of the table and they'd won 4 in a row. But it's amazing how quickly it changes, isn't it? Because I saw at the interview after that, and Ancelotti was asked, you know, what do you think of the game, etc. And then it was like, oh, this is the first time in your career you've lost 3 back-to-back games, and it's weird how that pendulum can swing so quickly, isn't it? From
Oh, yeah.
this incredible thing to then suddenly you're like, oh god, it's the first time he's lost this many games in a row. But obviously a different prospect to the other teams he's managed. But
He flew too close to the sun.
wow, that was
What the hell was that?
that was profound.
Where'd that come from?
My mouth.
Get off the internet. What have you been reading? Stop.
yeah. Edgy phrases.
He picks up that philosophy book again.
Let's move on then to the next game to get through them. Chelsea obviously had a good result against Sheffield United, and they conceded first, didn't they, with actually a very smart finish,
Oh,
and then
that was
came back.
naughty.
But Chelsea, title contenders? Question mark.
No,
I don't know about that, but they did look scary, I must admit. Now they've got most of those new players playing. You know, Ziyech have 2 assists. Obviously, Chilwell's been great and he scored again. So did Werner. Or Thiago Silva. Oh, you know what I mean? It's all starting to come together a little bit. It's a bit scary. I think if they get a run together, you never know.
But it was against Sheffield, who are not very threatening going
they're doing
forward.
nothing. I think
Yeah,
Chelsea
and-
will still drop some shit. They'll still do some mad crap, but I'm definitely worried about them for like next year, for example. It's really shaping up.
Yeah, they've obviously had these nice stats that have come out, and if they would have kept a clean sheet, I think it would have been the first time since, I don't know, basically forever since they've kept that many clean sheets in a row. But they have had some easier games. They did have that good result though, didn't they? They had the was it against Manchester United? The 0-0.
Oh, nil.
They didn't
0-0,
concede
yeah.
in that game, which obviously is good. But obviously since then they've played a few easier teams. But I mean, yeah, I was very, very impressed. But I guess if we look at Sheffield United, I didn't have them relegation. I keep saying they're going to be fine. I do kind of still feel like they are, because maybe I'm just, in love with Chrissy Wilder. But they are 20th. They're right in the bottom of that. 7 games and 1 point.
No, this is what it is.
12-game
Well,
win
Don't
run as
you
well,
dare.
isn't it?
Don't you say
And
it.
Ramsdale.
No.
You know what? He actually did play quite bad. I watched that game, and the whole time I was thinking of you going, Dan's going to slag his ass.
It's not the same anymore. Just,
Yeah, you have
it's just true.
It's a couple of weak ones he probably could have got to, but I think all in all, do you know what? Yeah, Sheffield United are just going to struggle, I think.
Yeah.
Weird.
But why are we not questioning them more though? It's like 1 point to 8 games. That isn't good form. Like we slated Fulham and West Brom for them being poor, but Sheffield United have been poorer than them.
We are now. This
So
is
we
what
are.
we're doing.
I want
Chance to.
more. I want
Also-
more.
It's like we said as well, isn't it, about comparing expectations. Like no one really expected Sheffield to do anything last year, and then they didn't really spend much again this summer. So if they sort of muddle along and pick up a few points and do all right and then get relegated, it's like, yeah, well, that's what happens with clubs of that size, with a starting 11 like theirs, where there's not a lot of quality. You know, people aren't slagging them off because they don't have amazing footballers, so they don't play amazing football. So,
Do you reckon they'd just been found out? Like, obviously, when it first came up, their tactics.
It's a shock.
It was a bit of a shock, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
I was expecting the overlapping centre halves and things like that. Do you reckon now it's literally just because everyone just knows it and there's no plan B, so everyone can sort of just pick them off?
No Henderson either. It's just, I mean, last year was a shock factor. Now they're actually performing how they probably would have performed last year.
Yeah, I think they're playing well above their level, and like you say, they've not really had a striker who's scored a lot of goals, have they? They sort of won a lot of games 1-0 and stuff like that, and that can quickly turn around. But they were playing amazing actually, but they've been off form really since the restart, because after the restart, and obviously most of that was, can Sheffield, you know, can they get into Europe? Could they even get into the Champions League? And they completely fell away, didn't they? But I guess sometimes you do have to look at the quality of the squad, Ben, and say, you know, stop sending their club Twitter hate. Okay, let's move on then to the next game. And Dan, we're going to come to you quickly on this one. West Ham 1, Fulham 0. How would you sum up this game?
It was, I mean, we could have won like 8-0, to be honest.
It was frustrating, wasn't it? It was frustrating.
I mean, I'm glad I didn't waste 15 quid to watch it, though, because imagine that, just the good part was 2 minutes in at the end. But yeah, great. When Berama came on, he done very well. He assisted the goal. Unlucky with this challenge, very soft. Like 2 weeks in a row, had soft penalties. But I think the main point we want to talk about this game is Lookman's penalty, isn't it?
Oh, what a...
Well, before we come to that quickly, I just want to ask you, Dan. Obviously, you've not had Antonio there. It's crazy how much better you look when he's there, isn't it? He completely transforms, and you feel like he may would have had 2 or 3 goals in this game.
Definitely. Haller was, I mean, from the highlights it looked good, but you know, when you watch a whole game of him in,
it's trash.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not settled in, is he? I mean, he's a good player, but we just haven't seen it at West Ham at all.
He doesn't run. Like, he's got no energy, or maybe it's not his style of play. Just we're not playing how he likes. But you know, get with the new system. Antonio works hard. He's great up front. But Benrahma looks good. I just want him to start and see what happens. Yeah, but Lookman.
Yeah, let's get on to that then.
We've got to talk about Lookman.
Yeah.
So
Fabianski, great save.
Yeah, I don't know how he got to that. It was right in the corner. Let's, I guess, all give our quick opinion then on this penalty. So I think actually when he went to take the pen, I was thinking, great, because he's actually been Fulham's bright spark, isn't he, in that team?
Yeah, he's been good.
He's been the one who's been clinical. He's had some great shots, great move. I thought, great, he's going to go up there, blaze it, and he really deserves this. And then I couldn't believe it. I'm still speechless now. I just thought, why have you done that?
In 98th minute, and you know you can get a very, very important point for your club, and he does that.
I mean, Fabianski looks into his soul and broke him. Scared.
What? The thing is, I'm not really sure on his technique, because if he would have obviously tried to Panenka in the middle, obviously we see that a lot, so that's not new, is it? But he kind of did it to the left, sort of no height and really no power. So I
can't
think
even blame it on like the crowd being there and putting him off, because you know no one's there. You got like 22 people just watching you.
But what was Moy shouting though, mate? That's the question.
You're crap. You're gonna miss. You're gonna miss.
Wanker.
Well, it's not wrong.
Yeah, Moy's masterclass.
He's done it again.
Yeah, boy.
Moy's for United. All right, let's move away from that game then. I think Lookman. I don't think we'll see him do that again. Moving on.
No, we'll see him play.
Yeah, another game kind of similar in a sense was West Brom 0, Tottenham 1. West Brom did have flashes actually, but it was mainly Tottenham, and of course Kane eventually scored that goal, and it was 150 goals now for Kane in the Premier League. Incredible. Yeah, he scored 200 goals. Obviously we mentioned that Ben on extra time, but now he's got 150 in the Premier League, which is, I mean, it's remarkable, isn't it?
Just a budget Carlton Carl.
Always believe in your call.
Is there a better striker than Kane in the Premier League?
No, he's different class, isn't he? Like, he's had a great start to the season, obviously him and Son together, and it's frightening actually. I actually do think that Mourinho's actually, taking his game to the next level. And is it, I don't know, is it a bit too early to sort of say that Spurs could be a title contender? I don't
Do
know.
not say that to Killick. Do not say that to him.
I know. I have
No.
to say it in front of him, though, man. This is football. We've got to talk about it. It's a possibility, I think.
If it happens,
A joke.
obviously, one of you guys host the pods and I'll just leave and never speak to anyone. But, no, I mean, I have to say, I actually do like Mourinho, and follow him on Instagram if you don't, because the guy is just...
Oh, he's brilliant, isn't
he's
he?
hilarious. He put up, straight after that win, him just cleaning his shoes, and it's just funny, man. He's just got it right. And it's weird, because a lot of people actually have been giving him sort of criticism, should you be doing that as a manager? And I think, actually, just do it, man. It's funny.
He doesn't care, does he? That's
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of what everyone sort of loves about him in the first place.
Yeah, I do like him, and that's an issue because now he manages Spurs. But I think they are becoming a bit more Mourinho-esque, aren't they? They look I see little fouls, little pulls, and, they're putting the pressure on, and he is shaping them, and they are looking good. And they've obviously, Ndombele's come into form, isn't he, Brett? His last few performances have been a lot better, obviously, than last season.
Yeah, obviously last season he was, seemed plus the requirements, to be honest. But like I said, Mourinho sort of, he's starting to mould it in his own shape now. And I think Ndombele, normally he's like a defensive midfielder, but he's sort of playing him more in the middle and sometimes in like attacking sort of way as well. Obviously he's got the athleticism for it. And, like I said, it's all seeming to work at the moment. So, like I said, it's a scary prospect because, like quite a few of these teams at the moment, they're the sort of team that sort of snuck up there quite unnoticed. And it's like, wait a minute, when they did go top, didn't they, for a little bit?
Mm.
When it came up, they went top. I was like, how have they done that? Like, they've just sort of done that so low key. Like, so I think, Mourinho likes to do it in the second season. He likes to win a trophy for whatever side he's at. So this could be it. You never know. Like, I think I'd rather Spurs than Liverpool or City win it. Is that wrong to say?
Oh no, I guess from a neutral perspective, if a team wins who don't spend the most money and haven't spent the most on wages, etc., then people back it, don't they? With Leicester, obviously I don't. I'm completely opposite. But for the neutral, you probably do want them to. But I think also I mentioned for Reguilon, who's gone into that team, he's looked absolutely brilliant from day one. I think he was a fantastic signing for Tottenham.
Yeah, United should have signed him. I was well gutted, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't he get like the best left back in the La Liga that year?
Yeah.
It's
So
crazy,
why
isn't
are
it?
more people going after him? Like,
I think the issue was the buyback. The Real Madrid wanted
oh
back.
yeah, that's true. But then again, at least you get 2 or 3 years of having like one of the best left backs.
Might be there
But
next
then he
year.
might not want to go back though. Who's to say he would want to go back if they paid the fee? Well, he might just decline it.
Isn't it, mate? Spurs over Real Madrid.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, Ben.
At least you won't get Benzema going to you son of a bitch. You're costing us this game at half time.
That's true.
No, it was just have Mourinho telling him that instead.
Yeah, when it all starts going wrong, it'll be Mourinho for sure. And if we go on to the last game, and the last game of the weekend, because we actually don't have any Monday night football thanks to the international fixtures. So Leicester 1, Wolves 0, and obviously this was sealed with a Jamie Vardy penalty. He had 2 penalties, scored one of them. The other one was a fantastic save. What do you guys think of Wolves this season? I sort of feel being different about them, I guess why I ask, because they don't look quite right to me. Obviously they're 8 games in. I mean, they are 9th in the table. It's not like they're struggling, but I don't know. I really felt maybe they could, especially in these weird times, really push on. And I sort of watch them thinking, something just doesn't quite seem right.
I
That's
feel
the
like
fear
they're
factor.
progressing a little bit. Not like, obviously they've got mostly the same players and 9th is roughly where you would expect them. I think, I don't know if this is what you're alluding to. Their performances haven't been quite the same. They're still getting some of the results, but I feel like they're struggling a lot more to get it.
I think as well that they're sort of on a par at the moment with like Everton and, well, I suppose like we were saying, like Palace as well. I'm pretty sure they're like next to them in the table actually. Whereas really they should be sitting alongside like Leicester, Spurs, or Southampton as surprising people as well. They laid such a foundation last year that, it seems like they should really kick on. Their attacking talent is unreal when you add it all up. And you consider Adama Traore doesn't even start most of the time. They lost Jota to Liverpool, obviously, but, there's still so many options there. So maybe they should be kicking on a bit more than they are.
Yeah, they lost Doherty, didn't they? Which obviously he went to Spurs, and he looked a bit shaky at first, but we've seen him sort of growing into that role. But he's probably the only sort of I mean, they kept Jimenez, which was the main thing, because he was being linked to United and everybody else. Whether that was really going to happen, I don't know. But they did manage to keep him. So I guess we'll see. I mean, they're a team that never give up, that's for sure. So maybe they'll have a bit of a spurt. I guess we'll have to see. Well, that's all of the football for this week. All games covered. It's been a good weekend. Less goals now, aren't there? We've seen a lot of 1-0s, 2-0s. Not so much of the 4-3s that we were seeing as a sort of template at the beginning of the season. So
still a fair bit of goals this weekend. It's just Burnley that seems to be letting us down most weeks, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Every week. They love a 0-0, don't they? So step it up.
I won't hear you say anything bad about Dyche, right? So, guys, do check out our podcast on YouTube. A lot of people do listen on the apps, but if you think someone would enjoy the podcast and they don't use the podcast apps, if they're a bit of a boomer, then tell them to go onto YouTube and all of our episodes will be uploaded on there. Obviously, you can check out our socials as well. Make sure to fire in your language warnings if you want to feature on the show, like our Canadian Prince Alex, who did that very kindly. But until next time, bye.
Bye-bye.